guys. So it's Tangent Tuesday. We're live both on Instagram and YouTube, and I do my very best to get the angles nice, but we'll do what we can. I started mirroring on both Instagram and YouTube so that those of you who are like catching it on the go, yay, Instagram family. But the Unicorn Wellness community is literally scattered all over the world, and so getting us together at the same time is a challenge, which is kind of the point of having an online wellness community. It's on your time. So on YouTube, you all can come back and watch it anytime. If you miss part of it on Instagram, you're like, I didn't get back to it within the 24 hours. It's fine. It's on the new YouTube channel. Hi, Chris. Yay. And Sue, I see you guys. So whether you're joining me on Instagram or YouTube, say hi, throw a little emoji up. Today, we're going to go through our full moon ritual. So the Tuesday of the full moon week, right, of our Tangent Tuesday, we like to cover the moon cycles. So here we go. First, on Tangent Tuesday, we always go over a little bit of housekeeping. It's kind of the boring stuff, but it's necessary. Okay. Hi, Melissa. I see you guys. I'm so happy you're here. Okay, so the community like housekeeping business this week. The biggest thing is I have put the deep dive to thrive sessions on sale. So I think this is going to be an annual thing. The deep dive sessions are 90-minute wellness consultations with me. And because it is now springtime, tomorrow, and because Aries season is coming in, Aries is the athlete and the warrior of the zodiac, and spring really is the time for fresh starts and new beginnings. So rather than put these on sale in the new year, because that's not the time to do things and waste your damn money, let's do it in the spring. So the deep dive to thrive sessions are 90-minute wellness consultations. You spend an hour and a half with me on video call, okay? And we go through alignment, food, lifestyle habits, your movement, and a 3-card tarot reading at the end to bring in the element of spirit. After we meet, I spend another hour and a half and sometimes longer than that. So it's 3 hours total of my undivided attention on your wellness. Then I send you back an email that has all of my recommendations for lifestyle, movement, and spiritual evolution for you. So they're on sale. They're 20% off today through the last day of April. So I wanted to celebrate Aries and spring finally, and let that be available to you all for like a good month and a half, because I know it's a bigger spend, but it's unbelievably worth it. It is really a tracking and a map for the next 12 months of wellness, and you really don't need to do it more than once a year with me. I do have some clients that like to do it every 6 months as a check-in. That's cool. But really, it's like a one-time investment that lasts a lifetime. So they're on sale. If you all get the Unicorn Wellness newsletter, you're getting the mailings about that to remind you, because I know you're not going to just leave and go purchase it right now. You're going to need to plan for it and think about it. But you have all of April and start through today. Okay. So that's super cool. They're 20% off. I will not put them on sale again. It's a lot of time and they're so valuable, but I like the incentive to be there if you've been thinking about it and you're like, I don't know, like no secret weird thing about it. I'll put them on sale in the springtime each year, and that's the time to do it, okay? And if you have any questions about it, always you can find me or message me here, but you'll book them over at tandygutierrez.com, okay? All right, what else for housekeeping? That's the biggest one. We're still in, gosh, it's still March, okay? The full moon is tomorrow. So let's just kind of hop into that. We're in the energies faux show, and we've already had people in the private Facebook group. Hi, Paula, and hi, Shauna. In the Facebook group are like, who else is awake in the middle of the night this week? And I raised my hand. So y'all who can raise your hand on Instagram, who's been awake in the middle of the night? So full moons offer us this amped up energy, big old spotlight. Right? So for the UnicornWellness.Studio community, who are very attuned to the moon cycles at this point, who are highly sensitive and gifted and psychically gifted, you know, this moon energy is like, and so it's kind of a pain in some ways because we're all awake at 1, 2, 3 in the morning. My youngest woke up with a nosebleed, which is a little classic for him during the full moon. And yeah, I have tracked it. And then Mama Bear just could not go back to sleep. So you're getting me slightly sleep deprived. But this full moon energy is always big, right? So on UnicornWellness.Studio, the week of the full moon for our workouts are the workouts that require the most amount of our effort in our 4-week cycle. So that's cool because there's some place for the energy to go, okay, and a useful way to use it because the universe is giving us amplified energy right now to work with. If we don't get on the mat and ground it in movement, okay, and in energetics of that clean sweep, it becomes anxious, anxiety, and stress, and it just kind of like vibrates. I would say there's a little bit of both of that with this moon of like excitement, but also this like, I don't know, anxiousness about it, okay? So this full moon is a super moon, okay? That means that it is actually closer to the Earth in its orbit than it typically is. This is the closest the moon can ever be. It appears about 13% larger in the sky. We saw it yesterday. I picked up my son, my youngest, and like moon was out, like she wants to be seen right now and it's big, you know? So the super moon is the 3rd one in a row. So again, we talk about amplified energies and it's like, no, we're really getting them. Like this isn't made up of like, oh, it's always so exciting. Lately it has been, but it does shift and change. And these super moons add more frequency, more energy to it. The other side of the full moon frequency and energy is that it can wear us out. One, if we're awake in the middle of the night and not sleeping, that's going to be a little tiresome, okay? But two, because it's so much energy coming at us at a frequency level, that if we're really not taking care of our bodies on the regular, consistently, all of that energy coming in can be tiring and exhausting to us. So you can be like, she said it's supposed to give us extra energy. Supposed to, each body is uniquely different, right? It is giving amplified energy. That's number one, okay? So this moon happens tomorrow in the US, right? So at 9:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:43 Pacific Standard Time, and it doesn't happen until the 21st, like in the UK. So depending on your time zone, we're hopscotching when it exactly happens. We're still in the feels of it. So regardless, you're feeling it today, you were probably feeling it yesterday, and we've got a good 4 more days of this amplified energy, if not a little bit more. Okay, so it's a super full moon. It's the 3rd super moon in a row. So you may feel like, dude, I am just over this superness, this extra amplified energy, all this healing. Like, what am I supposed to do with it? This super full moon is in Libra, okay? And before we get into the particulars of this moon, we also look at all the other things going on top of it. So I'm always very careful to not really call myself an astrologer. We talk about astrology and I channel the energies through. So we look at the basic overall big picture of things rather than every single angle and degree of it. There are other people who do that so much more beautifully, and that's their talent and their gift. I also really believe in mastery, and mastery takes 10 years to cultivate. And I have not been doing this for 10 years quite yet. So we talk about the bigger spectrum things, right? We just had this giant pileup in Pisces. And we're still in the pileup today because remember that this full moon doesn't occur until tomorrow evening. So we're sitting with so many things in Pisces: the sun, Mercury, Neptune. Like there's all these big energies that if you're feeling lightheaded, a little space cadet-y, really hard to get grounded and anchored. Mars is there too. Like it's all of these things that like just do not like to be in water, and it makes you feel a little overwhelmed, a little dragged down, a little spacey, hard to like get grounded. And we're in like the final days of the big pileup of this. That's why this transition is really exciting. Okay. So tomorrow is the spring equinox. right? This means that Aries also moves into, the sun moves into Aries. So this is the astrological new year. This is truly fresh starts and new beginnings. So in our Gregorian calendar, in our little boxes, they say that it's, December 31st, January 1st, but it's not. So from an astrological standpoint, it is tomorrow is New Year's, fresh starts, new beginnings. Aries is the athlete and the warrior. And I repeat these things because you need to understand the temperament of what we're moving into. Aries likes to start things. Aries is fearless. Aries is like chomping at the bit, at the gate, ready to go, always. Aries wants to go where the energy is, okay? And they are a fierce warrior who always wins and can be unbelievably loyal. The downside of Aries energy and busting into spring is that Aries isn't always a good finisher. They're not always consistent for the long term. If the energy dies down, they kind of go, I'm done. I'm kind of bored. So we have to watch ourselves with the excitement of spring, of fresh starts and new beginnings, that we may not finish what we start, and things may be really exciting and really interesting, but they don't have the stamina for the long game, okay? So again, tomorrow we have the full moon. It falls on the spring equinox. This is like years and years and years and years and years since this has happened. So it's special. It's a super full moon which amplifies the energy. The moon is closer to the earth in its orbit. And Aries, our sun moves into Aries. So this is the beginning of spring and this go, go, go energy. Yeah, oh good, Chris, because it does take a while for these things to click. And even though you hear them once, you're like, how does this apply to things? And why is this exciting? And why does this work, right? So one of the big pieces of being a member at UnicornWellness.Studio is that we're working in movement daily, right? In accordance to the current lunar cycle and the current astrology, knowing that our bodies are reacting to the energies and frequencies at play on the cosmic greater scale. So I want you all to understand what that means. When the rest of the culture is in a Gregorian calendar and says, you need to join a gym and you need to start something new and your health needs to improve in January, wah, wah, not true. And in particular, not true for a female body. A female body cycle is in tune to the moon if we let it be, if we cultivate it. And if you're on the mat with me at UnicornWellness.Studio, you're automatically cultivating it. So it's really important to start to anchor into the astrology at each transition and go, what does this mean for my body? What does this mean for my goals? And what does this mean for, am I going to fight upstream to do this? Or is there going to be kind of a little whoosh of wind and upswing from the universe to help me with whatever it is I'm trying to achieve, okay? So springtime is the new year. It's the astrological new year. It also is the beginning of the astrological chart, Aries. It's masculine energy, okay? And it's firepower, and it's feisty, and it's athletic, and it's the warrior for things. So there's just so much of this like brightness and naivete, okay? So because Aries is the youngest of the chart, and I love talking about Aries because my oldest son is an Aries rising. Ain't nobody more Aries than him unless somebody's got their moon in Aries too, and I'm just blessed he does. Okay, they're really energetic and enthusiastic. So this season, denotes this. Hi, Katie, I see you. That this enthusiasm. Okay, so but we're in this transition and this cusp. But Aries also, like, if it isn't just like this nonstop, they're like done. And then they kind of go entertain themselves, and it can be really distracting. Okay, because Aries wants the energy to be up here all the time. And remember that if our energy is up here all the time, we don't have anything grounded, and we cannot see it through for the long haul to make it a genuine manifestation. Okay, so it's a very exciting time of year. It always is. This one feels a little bit more exciting than most, I think, but just beware. Okay, so today is really about the full moon, but we can't not talk about the spring equinox as well and this transition into Aries, because these are some of the biggest layers. Mercury is still in retrograde. Remember that, okay? And Mercury is in Pisces and doesn't like that, right? Mercury doesn't like to swim. It likes to sprint. And so Mercury is about the slowing down of introspection, of editing, re-editing, evaluating, reevaluating, and really listening. The biggest call of this Mercury retrograde is listening to your intuition. And that is always the call of a unicorn, right? But in this time in particular, because we're closing off the astrological year and we're opening a new astrological new year. So there are endings at play here that will bring us new benefits, blessings, if we are willing to let go, okay? Because this is also the full moon, right? Full moons traditionally are endings. What no longer serves my highest and greatest good? What can I release and let go of? Physically, tangibly, as a habit, emotionally. Emotionally usually tends to our wounds. And as a collective on the UnicornWellness.Studio members, we've really been working with our mother wounds and our father wounds. Okay, so, and cultivating our own personal magic through getting grounded and really owning the root chakra and our inner witch in the cauldron in the pelvic bowl. So see how all of these layers go together, in particular from October till now. If you look at your workouts and the sessions and the flavors of what I've been teaching, they're always in accordance to the astrology, but look how it builds up to healing and release and new things, okay? So again, spring equinox, Aries season, full moon, it's all happening together. We're coming out of winter. And to repeat what we talked about last time is that winter into spring just feels like mud. And it's really goopy and it's slow and it's still very watery. So know that as these lunations happen and the astrology shifts, it's not a light switch that just goes from one energy to the next, that we transition out of it, okay? And that can take, you know, a couple weeks, that can take a couple days. I don't know, if you're wired for it, maybe it takes a couple hours, but understand that we transition, okay? So out of the winter, out of this hibernation, out of this introspection, we're still in Mercury retrograde, that we are clearing the mud. We need more sunshine to dry it out, right? But out of the mud comes the lotus. So springtime of sprouting and starting new things and blooming and blossoming. And without over speaking, I really do believe that this is 2019. These are the blessings that we've been looking for and waiting for. And it's going to be more energetic and then manifestation tangible, right? So we've all kind of gotten on that 2019 wagon of like, New Year's, we can't help it. This is how we've grown up. And then we've just had like endings and closures and lessons and trials and like, what the F? And you're like, you know, we're all trying to transition and learn our lessons fast as we can right now, that this is the new year. This is the astrological new year. This is 2019. This is fresh starts and new beginnings and blessings. Everything this year points towards a better future. Knowing that a better future takes a lot of work, a lot of cleaning. Just think about moving out of a house or an apartment. You got to box stuff up. You got to donate stuff. You got to throw things away. You got to give stuff to people. You got to return things that you borrowed forever ago. Then you need to deep clean it before you can even get to the next space. This time is the deep clean. And this moon is like the, I don't know, I feel it's like the power wash on it. Like either if you weren't doing the work or you weren't really paying attention, we're still getting this like how can we start fresh and clean? Okay. So yeah, and we don't want to be stuck in the mud, like Shauna said on YouTube, but it's part of the cycle. So it's okay to be stuck in the mud for a little bit. It is okay to not be striving and working all the time. So again, Aries likes to go, 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 go. Pisces likes to sleep, 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 sleep. So this time of being stuck in the mud serves a purpose. It's important for restoration and integration. And if we want to head into some of those topics of, you know, overall ascension and the vibration shifts in this cosmic time, then it requires sleep of a physical body and it requires rest of a physical body. And we'll reference the butterfly once again. It takes time to earn your wings and it takes time to be ready to bust out of that chrysalis and it takes time to be able to fly. If you cut yourself out of that chrysalis too soon, no go, right? So we're still in this like, meh, but I would say that like tomorrow we will start being available for the wings and the flight and the going, okay? I'm going to check. I'm trying to check comments without totally sticking my hand in front of the camera. Okay, so if you all have comments or questions as you're watching, just post them. I still have not figured out the most perfect setup for this double phone, Instagram, and laptop, but I do the best I can, right? Okay, so we have all of these things piling up, and that we have this go, go, go energy coming tomorrow because of the spring and because of the equinox and because of Aries. But I do think, little flag waving, that because Mercury is still retrograde, it's going to be stationed retrograde until March 28th, but we will feel it until April 11th. Okay, so just know that those 2 shadow weeks as it crawls back out, this lends a little bit of a weird dampness. So Shauna, this is why I'm saying, like, hold on to that sprouting. We all want to sprout. We have been striving and cleaning out and releasing and tending to. But I do think that as much as we're going to have a fresh uptake, this is the springtime. I think it's almost like, you know, having like sun showers, like it's right outside, but you can't really still go out and play totally because it's raining. There's going to be a dampness to the energy until about April 11th, my opinion of it. This is what I'm feeling, that it's not going to be sprinting time just yet. Like it's like, oh, more sunshine. The hours have changed in the Northern Hemisphere, right? That it's going to feel better, but it's not particularly like the go, go, go energy that we like so much. Okay. So there's, again, like that little flag of like, well, just, you know, yes, better. Yes, blessings, but there's still so much of this energy that says just stay focused, trust, surrender. It's not going to have the full quickness that we typically feel with Aries, or that Aries loves as much because of this retrograde. It's just it's got some rain on it. Okay, all right. Those are the basic notes of the overall things going on. Okay, then we come to just this full moon. It's a big full moon. It's in Libra, okay? It's another moon at 0 degrees. So if you get my monthly magazine, the newsletter, you'll see how many moons we've had at this 0 degree mark, okay? And in the newsletter for the last couple of months, I wanted to really, you know, impart that in the zodiac, in the wheel, right, you've got the little pie pieces in the houses, and that each house has 30 degrees. It goes from 0 to 29. And I've been doing a lot of the breakdown of what that means and why it's important. 0 to 14 degrees is saying we have a lot to learn. It's fresh. It's new. This is different karma. Okay, it could be clear karma, meaning we're not dragging in lessons we have to learn, or it means we don't know anything in this spectrum. So we're sitting at 0 degrees of Libra. And so that, in my opinion, says we don't know anything about relationships or true balance or fairness right now. We're learning. But what 0 degrees offers us is this fresh set point of a completely new mode of operation, which is beautiful. So even though new, right, and naivete and youngness, which is what Aries offers us, these beginning, oh, hi, Brandon, these beginning degrees, right, also offer us this newness, naivete, like, I don't know anything, but I also don't know anything. So everything is in the positive and anything's possible. And we are open to learning in new templative ways that are better, that really do work for the greatest good. So again, the 0 to 14 degrees says we got a lot to learn in this category, but it offers a freshness and a clean slate of learning it differently, learning it new, without these weird old false paradigms, without the anvils attached to it. And so that's a lot of potential. and a lot of constructive evolution for our personal soul and for the collective. So it really is fresh starts, new beginnings, clean slate, open canvas, okay? So when you get to the 15 to 29 degrees, this says we have a lot of mastery at it, okay? We know this stuff inside and out. But what happens with people when we go, we have a lot of mastery at it, we know this stuff inside out? We can become know-it-alls. Right? And we can think because we've seen it before that we know how it's going to turn out. And therefore we're manifesting this negative outcome because we've seen it go wrong so many times. That's always a hindrance also. When you know too much and you feel that that's the only way, because that's the way it's happened every single time, then you don't allow for divinity and you don't allow for magic, right? And so these fresh start, first 0 set degrees, are so beautiful, okay? If we approach them in I am willing to learn new patterns, new outcomes, new vibrations, okay? So it really is like somebody took the whiteboard and just went, what do you want? What do you think? New ideas, new ways of approaching things, and genuine solutions. Because as we see in a collective, on a global scale, right? Our children are the ones leading the brigade. The teenagers are the ones that say, no. We hear these things. We understand these are the outcomes before, but we're really pushing for change because it's possible, you know, and we're looking for new answers and we're looking for ways around things. And yes, you can give that up. And yes, you can make something else out of that. And yes, this can be at the top of the list of things we need to address. So understand that Aries offers a freshness of naivete, but this moon offers us a clean slate in relationships because it's in Libra, in the scales of justice, okay? And in the scales of our karmic, I don't want to say karmic justice, but in the scales of our personal karma. So there's so many beautiful layers here to Libra, okay? And it's offering us fresh starts and new beginnings there. So in Libra, what is Libra? Right? Libra, we talk about being the scales of justice. And when we speak of the scales of justice, we tend to think legal, fairness, right? Structures, government, like these kinds of things, equality for all. And it does mean that, right? The things that have been coming through for me to share with you all. So we can go through the basics of what Libra typically means, right? How Libra is looked at and experienced in the zodiac, which is the scales of justice. Okay. It's also always in reference to relationships, but understand that relationships are so many things. I think as a person, we go relationships and we say, oh, my partner, my best friend, my business, my boss, you know, yes, but we also have a relationship to ourselves. Okay. We also have a relationship to our community and our culture, to our government structures, and to the planet. You know, so we are in relation to everything. So it's such a broad spectrum to really say that Libra is just relationships, or you're going to get this super highlight on relationships. Yes, but which one really needs your attention right now? Is it the one with yourself, the one with others, or the one with your community? Okay. So what I'm hearing in this Libra phase of this full moon, right, is that Libra being the scales of justice, the balance of the scales, depending on which philosophy or kind of where you look, the channeled information that's coming through for me is that Libra, yes, we tend to think legal, fairness, right or wrong, you know, equality for all. Okay, but what balances this other side of the collective and the overall culture? This is the personal. And Libra's a funny sign, right? It's so serious, and it is the scales of justice. But she loves to be seen. She loves to be adorned. She loves jewelry and clothing and like beautiful things, okay? So the other side of the balance of Libra is the personal and sensual pleasures. And for some, we can go, what does this have to do with one or the other? Like, that seems like so weird. No, this is what balances a life, right? We are connected to each other. We are connected to the culture. We are souls, not skin, and we are bound to one another. And hence karma, the ways that we treat other people comes back around. And we need to sort those things out for more equality. But the other side of that is a constructive sensual pleasure of self-love, of understanding that this soul is shoved into a physical body. And this physical body can smell things and taste things and feel things and hear things. And that is part of the purpose of this incarnation. So that when we strive perhaps a little too seriously for balance for the greater good, we forget about the self and the sensual pleasures of being in a physical body. So Libra, and what I'm hearing to bring to you all today in this full moon, is what needs to be released in order to bring the collective and the personal into balance with you, which is everything that we always teach and talk about on Unicorn Wellness, right? So as a member of UnicornWellness.Studio, you're there to practice self-care, okay? To tend to your physical body with compassion, with respect, right? And that cultivates self-love. So then there's a comfort inside your own body. We're moving so that it's a prayer and a thanking of your body. It's a physical thing. It's meant to be moved. And so we're moving it in constructive ways and becoming connected to it at deeper levels. But this is a sensual pleasure to be able to move and be embodied in your own skin. And so we come back to the ultimate of how do you make collective change with yourself? So as we anchor into this full moon, there's a call to really look, because it's in Libra, of what needs to be released, okay, in order to bring the sensual pleasures of the self, and I would just flat out put self-care and self-love over here, in balance with the collective fairness and striving and helping and equality for all here, okay? Because if we're only focused on the external and angry and mad and neglecting the self, we're not in balance. If we're totally only focused on the self, that could go towards ego, right? And not be looking at the collective and how we contribute to the collective. So in this full moon, look at how and where maybe you're too much in one category and not enough in the other. Release something off of the one that's got too much attention in order to bring both into focus. Okay, so this Libra full moon asks us to find more balance in our sensual pleasures, our self-care, our self-love in relation to the collective and the overall. And so that can sound a little heady, but it's not. It all goes back to the basics. It all goes back to why you are a member of UnicornWellness.Studio, or why you might want to be one, that you want to engage in a practice in a physical day-to-day aspect of 3D doing that really helps balance our divinity and therefore the collective, right? Small pieces and how we treat ourselves is how we treat others. If we are warrioring and angry and super critical and highly, perfectionists of ourselves, guess what gets wielded? And I always go back to parenting, because as parents, you start to see that real quick. When you get short-tempered with them, how are the ways you're engaging with them? Like when you're tired and haven't slept and been up with the full moon. That internal programming, that subconscious programming, is the way we engage with the world at one level or another. Because the subconscious is what's driving the ship, and the subconscious is what's guiding your manifestations. So we want to make sure that things are in balance and that they're rooted in self-love. And when we go, oh, that sounds so cheesy, how do we even do that? It's through self-care. It's through diligence and respect for the physical body, understanding that this is the vessel for the soul, so that when we show respect and care for the physical body, the soul is happier. And when the soul is happier, the world vibrates at a different level, right? Or you're also just in a much better boundary space because you're embodied, you're connected to yourself, and you go, ooh, those people that are super negative, I'm just gonna make a little turn and go that way. I don't need to engage with them. Your choices of how you mix your energy in the world becomes much more powerful, okay? All right, I'm gonna take a breath there. So this is the basic of the spring setup, the basics of this full moon. If you haven't read the newsletter yet, you can go back to the newsletter and kind of read the inside the degrees for this full moon. I'll put more up on Instagram tomorrow about it, since it's happening tomorrow, and a little bit more of the energetics at play here. But it's a big one. They're all kind of big lately, but look for release. I do really believe that this was a big one to let go of, you know, and we talked a lot about identity and guilt and anger in the last 4 weeks. So perhaps look at where you can release those things. And is it in relation to the collective, to the greater good of equality for all, or is it in relation to yourself? And let that kind of be a guidepost to things about what you're letting go of. I'm checking the time. Oh, we're in a good place. Okay, so do you all, whoever's here, you guys can hop in and say yes or no. Oh, that's okay, Katie, I see you. Do you all want to go over Unicorn Bingo today? We don't typically do it at the full moon, but I can talk through each of the houses of the zodiac 1 through 12 of what they focus on. And if you know where Libra falls in your chart, because this is where the full moon is, then you get an insight into what might be released and in what topic it's really pointing to. Oh, you did? Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, I'll kind of do a little bit of a speed version of it because I want to get to the tarot pulls. So Instagram, just know that Instagram only gives me an hour. And so if you want to hop over to YouTube, you can, because I can give a little bit more time for the polls over on YouTube. Okay. Okay. So Unicorn Bingo for this full moon. And I think we'll keep this set up for new moon and full moon for here on out, that we'll talk about the lunations and the energy. Then we'll aim for Unicorn Bingo. So in Unicorn Bingo, here's how this works. In your astrological natal birth chart, look at the chart. The directions that I give you in your newsletter each month is to pull a chart for the whole house signs. That is different than just pulling a regular little chart, okay? It doesn't have anything cutting in the middle. It's a purist chart that each house of the zodiac is a pure 0 to 29 degrees within each sign of the zodiac, okay? So if you have your natal birth chart, find where Libra sits and in what house, okay? So if this is the first time doing it, your chart's a circle, there's a little triangle pie pieces. Inside those triangle pie pieces, there's numbers, okay? That's the house that it sits in. Find Libra in it and then look at what house it sits in. And if you guys wanna share it and put it up here, totally cool, okay? So if Libra sits in the first house, this is typically your rising sign when it comes to a whole house sign chart. This is the who am I? This is identity. How do I navigate myself? How do I deal with myself? Okay, so this is really identity, especially and in particular because of the last 4 weeks we've had such a call out about identity. You know, what is the relationship to who you present yourself as in the world? Again, I shared the business card story because I just made new business cards, and it's a shift for me, and it felt big and important, and I hope I did it right. You know, it's to like, how do I present myself in the world when I hand somebody my card? All right. So we also talked about last week in the video about guilt. If you want to go look at it, how to work with guilt, how to heal from guilt, it's on YouTube, about making a business card for your soul. At your soul level, who are you? Okay, so if Libra sits in your first house, you definitely need to go watch the video on guilt and definitely need to do the assignment about naming your soul, because this is about knowing who you are at your essence, and that when the lessons and the blessings and the people come for you and things are challenged, that you know exactly where you stand because you know who you are at a soul level. Okay, so this is a big one. Libra in the second house. The second house is how you gather your goods. And this can be in relation to career, but this is also just like, how do you get stuff done? Okay. And so this is food, water, shelter. How do I supply and navigate these things for myself? So if Libra is in your second house with this full moon, look at what's not working. This can sometimes be a schedule issue. This can be a who helps with pickups and drop-offs. This can be a bedtime kind of situation. Or this can be a shift of I don't want to say career, but like, again, how you navigate things. Okay, so how do you get stuff? Libra tends to want fairness for all. So if they're getting food, water, shelter, they want to make sure that everybody else has the same amount of food, water, shelter that they do. Now, if you have Libra in the second house, this may call to you're tending too much to everybody else's business and you're not really taking care of yourself, and you're too heavy on the collective and not enough on the sensual self pleasures. Okay, I'm trying to look as you guys, oh, it's your second house, Jill. Yeah, I mean, this could be job shifts, right? This is, again, how do you gather your goods? How do you navigate? How do you get the things that you need? So look at that balance between self-care and doing for everybody else. Third house. Third house is your house of community and how you connect to the outside world. Okay. And so again, this can be this, we're going back to the scales of justice and balance between sensual pleasures, self and ego, and the community and the good for all. So if you never engage with your community, like you're a hermit, you're introverted and inside your house, that's too much focus on the self and too much self-care. This could be a call and a time to really go connect with other people and get outside of your comfort zone to genuinely connect with the outside world for the benefit of the collective. Because remember, where you show up, you're adding to the energy and you're adding to the vibe there. It's not always just about what am I going to get back out of it. Okay, so if Libra's in the third house, look about how you connect with your community, how many group things that you do. And this counts, by the way. We are a community and we are a group and we are live and we are here together within each other's energy. You all showing up is important, not hiding and always watching it after the fact. I'm not saying you all are all hiding. Sometimes it's just schedules, but by showing up, you support each other in this sort of work. Right? And the unicorn wellness work is really about saying, yeah, I totally acknowledge all the functional physical things I need to do in this lifetime, food, water, shelter. But I also acknowledge that there's a magic and a spirit and something magnificent and unseen about it as well. And I want to cultivate both sides of those in balance. Okay. So okay, I'm just looking at, you guys posted, whose house is in what thing. Fourth house. If Libra is in your fourth house, you are going to be dealing with issues of the family, okay? At a soul level, fourth house is your sense of safety in the world. What makes you feel safe and secure, okay, in this physical 3D incarnation? I do hear that this has so much to do with the wounds of the mother and the father, family wounds, that you have an opportunity to, wow, I don't know why that's coming through so loud. You have an opportunity to truly drop those wounds and move forward and move on in a clean slate. But you have to acknowledge that they exist, that these wounds are big. And then you have to be willing to start fresh and go, then I don't know how to navigate these things because I used to always do it this way. And those were really toxic and unbalanced and not healthy. So fourth house, I think, is going to be a powerful one for this full moon. Okay. Fifth house. Fifth house is the house of creativity, all right? House of creativity is how you cultivate and create in this world. It can be literal, children, businesses, business partnerships, or it can be literal as works of art, but it doesn't necessarily have to be artistic. This is, what do you make? What do you cultivate? What is your gift to the world, okay? So if Libra's in the fifth house, there may be some creative, there's creative blocks that can be left behind. The fifth house is this really interesting duality. It is the inner child. It is how you cultivate joy and your capacity to play, but it is equally your capacity to delve into the dark, into the shadow side, and get really Scorpio about it. So I would just look, if you have Libra in the fifth house, how well do you play and get silly and really acknowledge and embrace your inner child? Or how well and how welcoming and how much ease do you have going to the dark side, going into your wounds, into identifying your wounds and working with them? Because this is, they have to be in balance in order for creativity, in order to be able to make and give in the world. Sixth house. Sixth house is, how do you love? How do you help? How do you give? Okay, and so Libra in the sixth house, I think looks much like the 4th house. Where is the balance between giving and thinking of others and helping others with the thinking of yourself, tending to yourself, and caring for yourself and the sensual pleasures of this 3D incarnation? Because this is the 6th house is how do I help? How do I love? How do I give love? And I always tease and say that how I give love is teaching. That is how I love. I really want you all to listen. I want your life to expand. I want you to feel joy and a lightness and a magic because, you know, you're participating in the things that I teach. This is it for me. But the way you give love in the world and the way you help others can look like so many things, right? So just look at how do I give? How do I help? How do I make things better? And look at, see if there's an imbalance between the self-care and the giving to others, okay? 7th house is the house of relationships. So let's put a star on this one too. So for this full moon, I think those with Libra in the 4th, the 6th, and the 7th house kind of have the whoop whoop, like this might feel a little bigger for you all than other people. 7th house is the house of relationships. The only thing you need to hear is how do you deal with others, okay? So if you have Libra in the 7th house, you deal with others in a very, very fair way. And I say fair because as a kid, if you've got moon in Libra or Libra, any of the sun, rising, or moon, or in the 7th house, you're always concerned of the answers to that. Is that fair? That's not fair. So if you hear your internal voice or your external voice repeating, that's not fair. But that isn't fair. Why would it be structured that way? Because that doesn't serve the greatest good of all. So look at relationships because we can only ever deal with ourselves. Where are things fair or unfair? Are they resonating as unfair or fair to you in close relationships with other people? Okay, so if you are being unfair to somebody, acknowledge that. That would go into the guilt video of how to deal with it. If you really have done something wrong, because we're human and we do, then go make amends for it in any way you can. But go watch that video first, okay? And then if it's somebody else that you're constantly uttering, that is not fair about someone else, dig into it, see if you're participating in it in any way, or if this is a toxic wielding from somebody else. Again, go watch the guilt video because it's about setting boundaries to help cultivate fairness for you. So 7th house, relationships, if Libra sits there, this is about strict relationships with other people, and literally make a list and go through, who do I contact and communicate with on the daily, on the weekly, and is this fair or unfair? Am I being fair in this situation? Am I asking for too much? Or, hey, am I not asking for enough? And this is unfair because I keep doing all of this. I keep hearing that this is for somebody in a work situation big time, that it's time to speak up. That it's been this stirring back here of like, that's not fair. This person gets this treatment. And it's like, you need to speak up and be able to document practically where it's unfair. And I hear that this is a work situation that needs to be notated and understood, that because the scales are imbalanced in this work situation, that it's inefficient and it doesn't make money for everybody as a collective in this environment. I don't know who that was for. Whoever that was for, just take it and run. Okay, 8th house. Anybody with Libra in the 8th house? 8th house is the house of death and sex. But on the soul level, this is about releasing and clearing. How capable are you of clearing out things in order to receive new? Because death is a clearing of the soul from this earthly 3D plane, and sex is considered, you know, the little death and orgasm at climax, but that you're clearing out stagnant energies, right? So 8th house, Libra, is your capacity to clear. Again, you would be someone who would really think that in order to clear things out, in order for things to start fresh, it's got to be fair for everyone. That you've really, you know, it's like that it has to be fair somehow. So know that that 8th house of clearing, I think, might be a little tricky of how you deal with this. I think that you, again, Libra goes 2 directions, right? Of either being really self-involved and very egotistical because it's only, you know, focused on the self and how do I look and what can I buy and who's looking at me, versus the collective. So this is a really beautiful fine balance for Libra here. So 8th house of clearing, again, look at what you just hang on to. I keep hearing hang on too tightly to. I see boxes of memories of things. Like, you got to let stuff go if you want new things to come in. And that is the classic epitome of the full moon energy. You have to clear something out, something. Even if it's a thought pattern, if it's a, you know, an energy, an emotion. I keep hearing clutter for somebody. So if you've got Libra in the 8th house, you guys need to do literal house cleaning. But it's like memory boxes that are just stagnant. It's sorrow and things that you haven't fully mourned and kind of have wallowed in. So there's that. Let's see. All right, so then we have the 9th house, okay? If Libra is in your 9th house, then Libra is how you connect inside yourself. This is how you connect to spirit. So our 3rd house is about how you connect to community in the outside world. 9th house is how do I connect within? How do I connect with the higher spirit, divine spirit, higher self, guides, guardian angels, whatever you want to call it, God, goddess, like however you attach to it is totally fine. But this is about your connection to something bigger than yourself, but is yourself. So 9th house is your connection. How do you connect to divine, okay, spirit? When it has to do with Libra, this always calls to a space in the house, like an altar space that's beautiful, like a pillow that you love, you know, candles that you love, a little altar table that you just love to look at, or like a kimono or a silk robe to put on for meditation. It's a really funny thing, but Libra needs things to feel special. And remember, we need the balance between the collective and the sensual pleasures. So if you have Libra in the 9th house, I love the 9th house, and I personally find ease there, but I think this is always about your practice, your meditation practice, your prayer practice, your journaling practice. How do you connect with spirit? And when it comes to Libra, this is about tangible sensual pleasures. Diffusers, essential oils, like set your space, because that's going to get you there more often if you love it. Okay. So as we go through this chart, we're not specifically talking about if your sun sign or your rising sign is this astrological piece. On our full and our new moon rituals, we do unicorn bingo. So you get your astrological natal chart, pull it as a whole house sign chart. You see where Libra falls in the chart. So this full moon tomorrow is in Libra. And so we're going through the houses to say the full moon sits here. If it's here in your chart, these are the kind of issues that you're going to be dealing with and where to look for release and balance, okay? The 10th house is our house of empowerment. So when it comes to Libra in the 10th house, your personal empowerment, which can very much, it can be career, or we can just call it legacy. What is the thing that you will be known for and leave behind? Libra in the 10th house tends to point to law, you know, attorneys, legal systems, fairness for all. However, the other balance of Libra is the sensual pleasure business. So there's a strange thing of like, how can you give, you know, beauty to others across the board? You know, so look at it as this joint thing. Like when we're looking for the scales of justice to be balanced in your house of empowerment, it's going to have something to do with how you leave your mark in this 3D incarnation. Okay. So this can be career shifts. This can be job shifts. This can be, but this is legacy. You need to hear it as legacy right now is what I'm hearing. What do you leave behind? If what you're leaving behind is your children, then it needs to be really fair in what you're teaching them, inequality for all and sensual pleasures for themselves, right? A life well lived and cultivated, sights, smells, sounds, in order to generate beautiful things in a day-to-day life, okay? 11th house. If Libra is in your 11th house, this full moon is going to be pointing towards, okay, 11th house gets a little complicated. At its typical, it's like networking and socializing. It will be like, what does your friend circle look like? Is it big and like a lot? With Libra, it's not always a big, expansive circle of networking. It's always about people who have your back and you have theirs. It's about fairness and balance, okay? But the 11th house is also about how do you share your bliss? How do you give what you've made in the 5th house? So there's, again, this weird crossover of career and legacy here, of making and giving your gifts, okay? and how that gets expressed in the world. But in this full moon, look to your networking of friends. I hear a very basic, pedantic, the way your networking needs to shift. There are groups that you are connected to that no longer serve your highest and greatest good, and you need to find other groups, friend groups, peer groups, that you will find more bliss and more capacity to share what you make if the people you surround yourself with resonate better for you. Does that make sense? Yeah, that one was loud too. Okay, 12th house, last one. If Libra is in your 12th house, the house of the unseen, okay? So I always look at the 12th house of the unseen as dream time, psychic capacity, messaging, ghosts. Like this is anything you can't see, and this is often, you know, the dead, and again, dream time. So Libra in the 12th house, it's like you really want a balance of the psychic capacities you have. And you don't want, sometimes Libra doesn't want the psychic magic messaging to be so magic or psychic. It wants it to be a little more grounded and rooted. So sometimes those with Libra in the 12th house, they fight their connection to the divine, and that creates an imbalance in things. So for those of you with Libra in the 12th house in this full moon, look at releasing some of those false paradigms of needing everything to be very practical and straightforward, and really embrace messaging in your dream time. And I hear like right when you wake up in the morning, you know, these are these fuzzy times, like before you fall asleep and before you wake up in the morning. Those with Libra in the 12th house for this full moon, just for the next week, when you wake up, you know, set your alarm a little earlier and just lay there and ask the universe what it is you need to know. What does it want you to hear, see, think, feel, or know right now? There's some messaging trying to get to you for those of you who have Libra in the 12th house, but because you want so much practicality, you're missing some of the magic in the messaging. Okay. That was a speed round of unicorn bingo. All right. There we go. So let's take a pause. I'm going to take a breath. If you all have comments or questions about that, I'm going to look at the comments and questions. Let's look. Oh, good, Chris. You are super helpful with those links. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and let that go through. And then I want to look at Instagram real fast before we get to the tarot readings, okay? So here's how the tarot readings are going to go. Yeah, Lacey. Okay, so Lacey over on Instagram said that she needs to get her chart done. Bless you, right? So you can pull it yourself. I put the directions in the newsletter. But the first time you get a chart done, yeah, a little biased here because I do the charts. But it's really nice to do the Simple Stars reading with me. And that's why it's the only astrology offering I do, because you get to use it for Unicorn Bingo from here to eternity. We've been doing this for a couple of years now. So the Simple Stars reading, you can book them at tandygutierrez.com. It really is a one-time thing. And it gives you, I'll pull your chart for you, and then I give you a tour of your personal chart, just like I did, with a hyper focus on your sun, your rising, and your moon signs, which really are the foundation of your soul in this lifetime. So if you are feeling interested in doing that, I think it's unbelievably worth it. And you can ask the other unicorns who've had it done. And I send you a copy of your chart. You get a video and an audio recording of the whole thing. And it is a full 60 minutes of me walking through your personal chart. It's a lot. And I think it's really useful, and you can listen to it, you know, again and again. And as you really get into these moon cycles, we will be playing Unicorn Bingo on the new moon, and we will be playing it on the full moon here from here on out with these tangents. So, you know, a one-time Simple Stars reading, and you've got it for a lifetime, okay? So your natal astrological birth chart is the snapshot of the cosmos the moment you took your first breath in this incarnation. It is considered to be the blueprint of your soul. So the more you understand the blueprint, the easier it is to navigate the lessons in this lifetime. It's pretty cool, okay? I'm gonna take a little sip here and look at the comments a little bit. Jill, I'm not going to go over individual placements in the charts in these overall readings. I would keep it general. And again, it's kind of like the unfair sort of scenario. But what I can do with these individual placements in the chart is give you guys some book recommendations. After I post this video, I can put them in the links so that you guys can start to work on your own charts and kind of sift through them. Instagram's getting ready to cut us off. So if you want to join me over on YouTube, please do. Or if you want to watch the rest of it later, but go schedule a one-on-one at tandygutierrez.com, and the deep dives are on sale through the end of April. So there's some like really neat things going on. I love you guys very much. I'm staying on YouTube, and we'll do all of the tarot readings on YouTube. Okay. So any individual questions about your astrological chart, I'm not going to take during these things. There's too much and it's too many, and it becomes a little unfair. But I will post some books that you all can start to work with your own chart. And then maybe we start to look at some of the offerings adjusting on tandygutierrez.com for us to look at individual pie pieces as we go. But it literally can take beautiful lifetime to understand and break down your personal chart. So I love doing the simple stars, getting you guys with the foundation, letting you keep that foundation with the recordings, and then giving you guys some books to explore it on your own and with yourself, okay? And then you can kind of hear in each of these, the full moon and the new moon, or any of our Tangent Tuesdays, hi Tracy, that you can start to hear how these layers and how each planet, the general, temperament of the planet, and then start to look at your own layer cake in there, okay? We also have, there are some other astrologers out there that I love. And so maybe I start to link to some of them if you guys want some different readings. But I really encourage you to do the simple stars with me and then check out some books. And I'll leave it in the link below this video today about just starting to sort through it on your own. You all are totally capable. It's your chart. Looking at the comments real fast. Oh, Paula, love you. Oh, thanks, Shauna. And Tracy's over here. Hi, you guys. Yay. Hi, Lacey. Hi, Lena. Okay, so here we go. Into the tarot card readings for today. So I will take up to 10. So we usually end at about 11:15. So we're really on track today, which is great. Up to 10 questions. You may have one question, right? We'll take them in order. So it's like whoever types fastest, okay? And we're just working with YouTube viewers right now, which is cool. And you have to phrase your question in a way that can be answered yes or no. Those are the rules of today's. One question per person. And if there is additional information that channels through, I'm happy to give it to you and to bring that through for you, okay? More water. More water for all of you during the full moon, by the way. Okay, Sue. I like it. You're on it, Mama. Should you rent a studio for your artwork this year? Okay, so Sue wants to know if she should rent an art studio this year for her work. I'm using the Robin Wood Tarot. It's very springy and happy. And I really like this deck for the yes or no's for the single card pulls. Okay, Sue, should you rent an art studio this year? That's a yes. Okay, so 8 of Wands. 8 is a number of empowerment. Wands is bravery and courageousness, right? Sometimes it takes me a minute to like key into stuff. 8 of Wands is typically information coming in really fast, okay? And you feel like nothing's moving and nothing's going anywhere and it's stagnant and muddy and like, oh my God, where are the blessings? It's a yes to rent an art studio this year. There's empowerment in having your own space in it, but it's gonna feel like you sat around for forever and then all of a sudden things are gonna go really fast. Like you're gonna find the space. And I also feel like you might have a partner in this space, like somebody that you rent the space with and you share space with. I don't know why I hear co-creatorship in that. But that could take the cost down a little bit. But I also get that you guys are not actually, I don't hear that you're making work together. It just takes the cost down. And then it kind of happens out of the blue and starts to happen really fast. I don't know what the timing of this is, but this is a yes for this year, that it's a very empowering thing. It's about bravery and courageousness and taking that step out, but that you could have somebody that shares in the rent and the space, and that can lighten the 3D load of it. Okay? Okay. Okay, Shauna, struggling with the career financial transition. In the next 2 weeks, will my work income stabilize? Shauna, I want to reword that, and I'm so sorry, but I always want you guys to have the best answers. So you're asking in the next 2 weeks, will it stabilize? I feel like you ought to be asking, how can I stabilize it? Again, being in co-creatorship rather than being at the mercy of things. So I'm going to go ahead and do this reading. Again, we have a relationship, so I feel like I can do that for you. There are 2 cards that came out. Okay, so you saw me shuffle. You have the 8 of Wands, Shauna, and we also have the 2 of Swords. Okay, so you're asking, I asked, how can it stabilize? And maybe we're getting both questions answered. Okay, Shauna, this is your question. Will it stabilize in the next 2 weeks? Yes, it will, but it's like going to come in the final hours, like make you bite your nails, like unbelievable, like unreal. There is still a piece of this for you, Shauna. This is about your faith in magic, faith in the surrender, that you are worrying too much and you're starting to manifest the worry. And so you've got to get your head right. So here's the answer to my question that I was asking, which is, how can you stabilize the financial income? 2 of Swords is always a call to meditation and a trust in the unknown. You need to sit and get real calm and anchored and grounded and understand that you need to quit looking with analytical eyes and be hearing with the universe. You've headed down this rabbit hole of the only what I can see exists, and you need to get your balance back of the magic and the surrender and the trust. There's a lack of trust in the universe right now. So it's like, if you can get your meditation like on target, on practice, and I mean like twice a day, 20 minutes in the morning, 20 minutes at night, that yes, it will even out and come through, but it's going to come through in the last minute. It's not funny, but it's true. Okay. I'm going to go back and look at the questions in the here. Lacey, will you receive a job offer soon? It's pretty straightforward. Okay, Lacey, will you receive a job offer soon? Soon, I want to say like in the next 3 months, because that's soon when it comes to the cosmos. Remember that the physical world is kind of slow. Lacey, will you receive a job offer soon? Lacey, this is yours. This is the 4 of Swords. I hear no. Okay, so 4 of Swords is about rest and recuperation. It's also about meditation, but it's time out. It's not doing. So there's a no in here because there's some healing and there's some internal work that needs to be done. It's not time for you to go and do and do and do and do. And the reason you're not getting a job offer, because you're, again, looking at, I know, we need to look at the physical. We need to pay our bills. But you've got some internal healing to do. I also hear that I feel like this is a return from a question way back of you need to be making and selling your own things instead of really, yeah, that's a yes, instead of relying on somebody else to give you a job. You're waiting for permission instead of being bold and courageous. But you need some rest right now. There's recuperation and recovery for your subconscious programming and your cognitive programming. It's like little short naps or meditation. It's just like, this falls into the category of the Aries like hopping too soon and getting too excited. Like, hang on, get the transition and the healing from this Pisces season first, and then you can move forward. Okay. Chris, let's go back and look. Chris, should you apply for a new position at work? Here we go. That's a yes. And this is a really straight, I like the straightforward one sometimes. This is a yes. This is 8 of Pentacles. So Pentacles are about our finances, our earthly element. It's earth, wellness, health, joy, abundance. 8 is the number of empowerment, but 8 is about crafting mastery. So this is like he's the apprentice, like it's a young boy here. And he like starts with this one and he carves it, and then he carves another one, and then until he's made all of these and becomes a master of what he's doing and repeating. This is a yes that you should apply for a new position at work because it's time to learn something new. It's a beginning set point, right? And it's going to take time and practice to cultivate mastery, but there's a lot of empowerment in being new to something. Yeah, this is like apprentice time. So that's a yes. That's fun. Brandon, should you start a new relationship? Do you know who this person is? Is this a random relationship? Okay, we're just gonna straight up ask the question because it's a good yes or no question. Should you start a new relationship? An amorous partnership. Okay, Brandon. Look at this, that's a yes. This is actually the marriage card, by the way. This is the 4 of Wands, bravery and courageousness, sustainability, stability. This is partnership. I mean, this is rejoicing, celebration, new endeavors, new partnerships. Hello, straight up yes. Easy peasy. Let's get some more like that. Okay, so we've done about 5. Let's see what we got. Oh, Maggie, hi. Tracy, should we buy the Germantown Avenue property? Okay, so you guys, anyone who's joining us here in this live, you just type your question in the comment feed. I take up to 10 in the order that they come in. You have to phrase your question in the order of a yes or no answer. Like I have to be able to answer it yes or no. And then I can give more information that comes channeled through if there is more. Okay, Tracy, should you buy the Germantown Avenue property? About to throw things out of my hand. I love that you get this card. Okay, so Tracy, I'm not allowed to answer that for you. You have to sit in meditation. This is the 2 of Swords, okay? This is really a divine feminine card. This is a super witchy card. This falls in the category of one of my favorites. And Tracy, you're gonna be like, unbelievable. I just wanted to ask a question. You getting pushed by the universe this month, Mumu. Like you have got to be willing to receive your own messaging because you can, okay? So this 2 is about patience. So if you had to get an answer from me, I would say be patient with this. This is not an immediate purchase or a buy, but you're getting pushed to sit in meditation, ask this question, and wait for your own answers. That you're relying on me to confirm something for you, and I feel like the universe just called you out and went, we've been telling you what to do. Oh, they sassy with you this month. Yeah. Like, no, you need to get into this meditative, like you need to own your own witch. You've been getting the messaging, you know the answer to this, and you're looking for confirmation, but it's like they just called you out like you were trying to go around them. And they're like, we already told you. That's a yes. That's funny. You're getting pushed in a good way to like really get your own magic brewing. Okay, let me look through here. Tracy, they are so sassy and they're relentless with you right now. So like, it's beautiful and good, but this made me laugh because they were like, don't answer her question. I'm like, okay, fine. But yes, you know the answer to it, or you need to sit and wait for the answer because you can get it. You don't need me. And this is a little bit of weaning. Like, I don't want to push you away because you're my client, you're my girl, but you need to start doing this stuff for yourself. You know it, and you need to trust it. This is a trust issue. Start to trust your own messaging. Then you can come back to me. Okay, let's look through here. Hang on. Dun, dun, dun. Okay, Maggie. Maggie, if you'll rephrase it into something that I can answer yes or no to. When we do these single card pulls, they have to be phrased in a certain way because it's so quick and fast. And I would love to get some clarity and messaging for you on that question. But if you can phrase it in a way that I can answer it yes or no. Okay. Oh, Shauna, I love you. Okay. And then I'm reading. Hang on, getting there. Okay. And what's really terrible is that the writing is so small. I really need my glasses on. Oh, good, Lacey. Oh, see, magic. Answer the question you wished you'd asked. And then Brandon, yay. Okay. Oh, good, Chris. Yeah, this is the Robin Wood Tarot, and I love it because it reminds me of, once the fairy tale show. It's really bright and it's very positive, yet really classic. It's a really fun deck. Okay, there's Maggie. Are we on the right path with our new approach to helping your daughter's most recent medical issue? That is a great question. That's a good one. Okay, here we go. So, Maggie, are you on the right path in your new approach? I'm just going with that because there was two. Okay, let me ask so that there's clarity in what I bring through. Are you on the right path with your new approach to helping your daughter with her most recent medical issue? So there's two that came out, okay? Oh, interesting. Okay, so there's two. So we have a 7 of Wands and a 7 of Swords, which is super fascinating. Okay, so 7 of Wands says, yes, you are on the right path. 7 of Wands is about self-empowerment. Okay, the number 7, if people think lucky number 7, this is about when preparation meets timing. That's really what luck is. And it's always about self-work, self-reflection, self-care. I hear food. I hear move. I mean, again, I know it's what I teach, but this is what I teach, that there's power in food, the healing of food. Wow, food. Okay. We hear you. Yes, there is self-empowerment here, okay? And this is standing your ground. This card really says that you may be getting some pushback, I feel like, from the medical community of like, it can't do anything, it's not gonna work, that's silly, it's a waste of time. If you wanna do that, that's fine. You need to stand your ground because the answer is yes, 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 okay? That really do, like, yes, you're doing the right thing. It's brave and courageous. It's going to be a little bit of like, you need to plant your feet. You're standing alone, here, you're kind of fighting alone. But this, half shirt off thing is vulnerability to go, no, I'm okay to stand my ground for this. And everything that you're doing, nothing's going to have a negative impact. It's only could be positive. So yes, stand your ground, keep after it. You're going to get pushback to it, but you got to be really empowered and strong and resist the naysayers to it. Okay, so that's a yes, Maggie. But then we also got the 7 of Swords. This is an interesting card, okay? So again, 7, it's about self-help, meaning you're working on yourself, you're doing the work yourself. When this card comes up, because swords are about intellect, acumen, thought process, and our words, 7 of Swords can be passive-aggressive or sneaky. That I think there's something about being sneaky here that you feel like you need to right now in order to begin something. And I think that's okay because I hear that it's for the highest and greatest good, but that you can't do that for long and it will not, I don't even know that this is about your daughter, that it's not going to work in the long term. For a tiny bit of time, it's going to buy you some time and buy you accessibility and availability to something, but you need to get it straightened out. So it's either passive-aggressive behaviors that you're navigating with, or doing things in secret, manipulation. It's a little bit of, stealing from Peter to pay Paul kind of thing. That I think there's a Robin Hood aspect of it. That's okay for a tiny period of time, but you need to get past that real quick and figure out a way to be above board and in the present and totally empowered by it. I don't know what that is. Okay. It's apparently something that the universe wanted you to hear. Yeah, Shauna, I love 2 of Swords. Okay, Jill, let's do... Oh, you guys, it's 11:20. Let me do, I don't know how many I did. Let me go back and count. Sorry. I tried to keep it really fair and keep to my word, but more than 10, I get a little spaced out when we're done. How many have I done? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I can do 3 more. Okay, so Jill, let's do yours next. Should you take on a new kid to help as you let go of the previous kid? And you buy, I know, it's not your own kid, I get it. Okay. All right, Jill, should you take on a new kid? Oh, good, Maggie. Yeah, I don't know particularly what that 7 of Swords is about, but hang on to it like a little back pocket information. I get honestly, what I kind of feel in it is that there's some like manipulating of numbers to pay for some things, which it's saying that that's fine for right now, but don't let it get too far out of, there's some sort of secret behind the covers creative management. That's okay. The universe is like, no, we get it. We totally don't let that be the modus operandi for the long term. And aside from that, I don't hear anything else. So, okay. So, sorry. This is what happens when we get past a certain time. I get a little space cadetty. Jill, it's your question. Then Jennifer's. And then who's after that? One more after that. Okay, Jill. So should you take on a new kid to help at work? I know that. Should you take on a new kid? This is no right now. I mean, this is straight up no. Let this winter really be done. I know it's tomorrow. I hear that there's a rebirth of something that needs to happen, and you need that time and space to birth. So that's a no. That's just no. 13 is the number of the goddess, by the way. This is also at your karmic soul level because it's major arcana, and it refers to winter, right? Death, things being done, things ending. So just no, don't take on a new kid. There's new things coming, right? So you need that. I just hear, I don't need to repeat myself. You need that time and space. That's a no with a new kid because new things are coming for you. Again, very straightforward. Okay, Jennifer, here we go. Is your sister's anger towards you due to her own guilt over your mother's death? Okay, Jennifer. Is your sister's anger towards you due to her own guilt over our mother's death? Yeah, that's just a big old yes. That was loud before even the card came out. So, 5 of Pentacles, this always denotes change, but 5 of Pentacles is feeling left out in the cold. This is feeling like everybody's forgotten you. This is a lot of negative self-talk. This is a lot of guilt. Guilt. Yeah, super heavy. Okay. The medicine to 5 of Pentacles is to understand, and it's usually to anchor into a spiritual connection and relationship, to understand the greater cycles of life, and to be willing to receive love and to receive forgiveness and to receive fresh starts and new beginnings. She's so not there, and it doesn't sound like she's going to be anytime soon. But that's a yes. Yeah, that's a hard one. Because it's all this negative self-talk that she's really believing. And I'm not sure what's going to crack that. May just be time. Okay. Okay. Bless 9819, if you'll rephrase it, I would love to ask. These questions that we do with the single card readings have to be asked in a way that can be answered yes or no. So if you want to rephrase and type, and it happens before we log off of here, I would happy to answer that. We usually end at 11:15, and I'm going to have to be genuine and cut things off here in a minute, okay? And the phone's ringing and all of that. All right. So, hi, Robert. Yeah, you guys, this is always, you guys are helping each other out here. Oh my gosh, hang on. Hysterical. Phones ringing, all kinds of stuff going on. Oh, yeah, Jill, no, sounds like too much. Miss JJ, will I be successful this month? Oh, Robert, you're using your girlfriend's account. Totally cool. Okay, so Miss JJ, Robert, this will be the last question that I take today. So excellent, here we go. Okay, will you be successful this month? Oh, good, Jennifer. I mean, not good, but clarity is nice, and give her some space. That's what I hear. Pushing, I think you're trying to make it better too fast for her. She just can't hear you. I mean, I hear it, like, I don't know if she struggles with depression. I almost hear like meds need to be adjusted. I don't know. She can't hear you. Like, that's all. Okay, so Robert, are you going to be successful this month? This is a yes, and really hysterical because it's the Lover's card and you're using your girlfriend's account. So the Lover's card is at a soul level because this is major arcana. In this deck, it's really like flat out very clear. It's this balance between masculine and feminine energies, okay, in which we are all striving for in this 3D incarnation. It has nothing to do with gender. So at this soul level, this is about understanding willpower, drive, action, along with receiving, surrender, and listening and waiting. So when this card comes up, it's always yes, it's always good. I feel like it's very akin to the Wheel of Fortune. Like, that's a yes. There's success because there's balance in what you're doing, that the internal resonance has shifted. So that's going to start to express itself in the physical world. That's beautiful. Okay, you guys, on that note, I'm going to say goodbye. I love you. Our Tangent Tuesdays get longer and longer, and I love them. I love spending this time with you all. Yesterday, we did our weekly tarot. So if you're interested in seeing what the energy of the week is, go back and watch that one. Today, if you missed the beginning of this, you can watch it anytime as soon as I post it. We went over the current astrology, this current lunation, this gigantic, gorgeous full moon that's happening tomorrow, the astrological new year tomorrow, and beginning of spring tomorrow. I am hoping that tomorrow, when all these things actually happen, that I have time to hop on here with the spring equinox reading. It's like one of the only predictive readings that I do, and it might be fun to layer into things. If you want to book a one-on-one session with me, tandygutierrez.com. If you all are interested in the Deep Dive to Thrive, the full 90-minute wellness consults, they're on sale. I only do this once a year. So they're on sale at tandygutierrez.com as well. And you can book those through the end of April. If you're interested in working out with me and really working out in attune to the lunar and the current astrology, UnicornWellness.Studio. Below, there will be a code for your 30-day guest membership to really see how that amplifies and returns your personal frequency to that of love and healing, and therefore higher manifestations and capacity to manifest in the world. We're here every Monday and Tuesday at 10 a.m. And Monday, I think we're going to do 11 a.m. for the weekly tarots because we had more people present for that, and that's super cool. Anything else? Sales, astrology. I think that's it. Make sure to subscribe to this channel. Click the bell so you get alerts when I go live. The lives I'm trying to do more of, and I don't have a schedule for it, so the bell is going to be really helpful. And then please like these videos. And if you love this content and love what I teach and what we do with Unicorn Wellness, please share these videos. It's really powerful and really important. And I know I sound like I'm begging. That's just how it works these days. So if it speaks to you, please share it. I love you all so very much. And I'm so grateful that you are here with me in these days and that I can help facilitate your readings and help you navigate the energies and your magic in the world. Oh my God, I love you guys. I love you so much. Love, 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 love. I do. Yeah, full moons and new moons are pretty fun. Yay, 11 a.m. I know that seems to work. You guys can say these things too, by the way. So Monday weekly tarot, I'm going to start doing those at 11 a.m. so you can be present for them. More of you can be, but you can always watch it after the fact. The weekly tarot photograph layout of the card reading is up on Instagram. That's it. You can find me, Facebook, Instagram, here. I love you very much. Thank you for spending this time with me, and hopefully I'll see you tomorrow, and if not, next week.